What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Goated the Sneaker Podcast. I'm your host, The Third, and it's my favorite time of the year, not because it's Christmas time, but because it's time for me to reveal my top 10 sneaker of the year list for 2022. This is something I look forward to every single year, at least since I started podcasting. My list is going to pretty much be based off of shoes that I would actually wear, shoes that I did go after, or shoes that were up for grabs to people who realistically had a chance of going and getting these shoes. Obviously, I'm not gonna have no off-white Air Force Ones on here, the Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones on here. That doesn't mean they're not worthy of a top 10 sneaker list, because those shoes are definitely top tier shoes. They're for sure some of the best shoes of the year. I just, didn't have a realistic chance of getting them. I didn't have a chance of getting my hands on a pair. So sit back, relax. I hope you enjoy my top 10 sneaker of the year list. I definitely want some feedback after this is all said and done. So here we go. So before I get into my top 10 list, I did have kind of a hard time making my list. Obviously, 1 through 5 was pretty easy. It just had to pick, the order of 1 through 5. But 6 through 10 was a little bit difficult, and I think that's just because compared to the past couple years, I feel like this year's, releases were pretty mid, and that's if we don't include the shoes like the off-whites or the Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones. Like I said, obviously those are great shoes, top tier front running shoes on everybody's sneaker of the year list, but those really weren't made available to someone like me. I don't want to say it was a bad year, because there's definitely things on the list that I enjoyed, but I feel like it was just a lot easier last year or the year before to make a top 10 list of shoes that I didn't have to sit there and second guess or think twice about. So without further ado, coming in at number 10 on my top 10 sneakers of the year for 2022, I have the Fire Red 3. You can't ever go wrong with a classic colorway. You can't ever go wrong with something MJ actually wore in game. Obviously, the shoe was really easy to get. It released. It did not resell for much. It's still not even reselling now. Pretty sure you can find pairs for retail, maybe even under retail. If not, definitely maybe $20 to $50 above retail, which isn't bad at all. Maybe if they had hyped it up a little bit more, maybe if they had made limited quantities, or if they did the whole reimagine thing to it, it'd definitely be on more people's list. It'd be a shoe a lot more people talked about, but I'm not mad at it being on my top 10 list at number 10. Number 9, I'm an SB head, so there's gonna be SBs on my list. I have the Passport Nike SB Dunk High Work Boot. Passport is an Australian board shop, obviously coming out of Australia. I think they did their thing with this shoe. They're not as popular. They don't have such a high profile like some of the other board shops that get collaborations, but this shoe is super clean. The hit on the heel of the Nike SB, I love when they put different details on the shoe. The suede parts of the shoe are super clean, and the fact that it came with rope laces, I love rope laces on a lot of my shoes. Overall, executed the shoe perfectly. It gave me homegrown vibes, which is probably one of my favorite dunk highs. A super clean shoe, super slept on in my opinion. Again, I feel like that's just because it's not such a high profile collab, but I feel like a lot of people overlook the shoe, and it's definitely something that I will try to get my hands on in the near future. Number 8, I have the Nike SB Dunk Huff. We all remember the OG Huff, that tie-dye print on the uppers of the shoe. Super clean. That's definitely a classic. And I like the approach they took with the Huff SB this year, making it into a low and giving us that tearaway material. Obviously, what set the shoe off was the tearaway material. Once you tear that material off, it's that OG Huff print right under the swoosh. I mean, they did a really good job with that shoe. They did make a friends and family pair, which also is tearaway, but again, shout out to Huff, shout out to SB, shout out to Keith, RIP. So this next shoe coming in at number 7 for me, I have the Concepts Air Max 1 Far Out collab. Super dope shoe. Now, I had a little bit of a hard time placing this at number 7. I definitely wanted it to be a little higher on my list, but you know, after sitting there for a while and thinking about it, I'm okay with it being at number 7. This shoe dropped in a pack of 3. There was the Far Out, the Heavy, and the Mellow. I fell in love with the shoe. Super, super dope shoe. I love rocking that shoe. I wore it a lot this past summer, but definitely deserving on a top 10 sneaker list. And I'm a little bit surprised that the shoe wasn't on other people's top 10 sneaker of the year list, just because this is definitely one of those shoes that's one of a kind, that's a lot different from a lot of the other shoes that were released this year, and it's an Air Max 1. I don't feel like there was too many good Air Max 1s that released this year or in past years, so I'm happy with the Concepts collab Air Max 1 being on my top 10 list at number 7. So getting into my 6 through number 1 list of sneakers, I surprised myself this year, I'm not gonna lie, just because I definitely hopped on that New Balance train. I feel like, you know, I've said it previously, I've said it a few times already now, but New Balance definitely did their thing this year. They made their mark, and for the first time, you know, they've released shoes hand in hand with Joe Freshgoods, but they've released shoes that made me look twice, that made me think twice about, you know, copping a pair of New Balances. I haven't yet, but I would definitely cop this pair or any of the Joe Freshgoods pairs, just because you can't deny the fact that they're a clean pair of shoes. You know, the colorways, the materials, the stories that they're bringing with these releases, you can't deny, you know, the greatness there. So for the first time, coming in on one of my top 10 sneaker lists is a New Balance, and the first one is going to be the Kith 990 V2 Cyclades. Oh man, this shoe is crazy. I love when they put different colors on a shoe that just pop. That toe box on the shoe, that light blue, that aqua blue, crazy, that red orange, that mid panel, that creamy brown mid panel just sets those two other colors off like no other color could. This shoe I didn't get my hands on, but it's definitely something on my list to get at some point or another. Super, super clean. I've always had a soft spot for what Kith does, for what Ronnie Fieg does when he collabs with, you know, whether it's Nike, whether it's Asics, whether it's New Balance. This shoe's just super, super clean. I wish I could have put it higher, but there are other shoes that I would definitely wear before it, just because it's not a shoe that I'd be able to wear every day due to the uniqueness of the colorways of the shoe. But I love this shoe. Super, super clean shoe, and I will have my hands on it one day. And again, that's the Kith 990 V2 Cyclades, coming in at number 6 on my list. First New Balance on my list ever. So that's pretty dope. So coming in at number 5 now for my top 10 sneaker of the year list. I don't want to say I put this shoe on my list solely due to the fact that, you know, it was hyped up, because respect is due to what they've done and what they've been putting out since they were able to get their hands on Jordan silhouettes. But the MANIERE 4 is definitely on the list of top 10 sneakers of the year, and I feel like that's one shoe that 9 out of 10 people will agree on that deserve to be on a top 10 sneaker of the year list. Everything they do is just premium. So far, they have not missed with any of the opportunities they've been given. I definitely want to see what they're handed next and what they can pump out in the near future. Like I said, premium materials on everything they do. The fact that they add some participation, you know, to get the shoe, to get your hands on the shoe, that's a pretty dope twist. You know, they're definitely a company who is anti-bot, who's anti-reseller. They definitely want people who want the shoe, who want to wear the shoe, to get the shoes in their hands. So that's definitely something you've got to applaud and, like I said, give respect to. I would like to have the shoe at some point, but resale prices are just going crazy, and they're probably not going to go down ever. All right, so here we go again, coming in at number 4. Like I had said earlier, New Balance they're just doing their thing. Joe Freshgoods is doing his thing. They definitely made their mark. I'm definitely part of the wave now. I'm gonna get a pair of New Balances this year for sure. I just don't know which one, especially if it has anything to do with Joe Freshgoods, anything to do with Ronnie Fieg or Kith. Coming in at number 4 on my top 10 sneaker of the year list is the Joe Freshgoods Performance Art 993s. These shoes go crazy. I've seen a handful of people wearing them at Complex Con. That all pink pair just hits different. Those suede pieces of material on the shoe. I mean, it's hard to make different shades of pink pop all in one, and they somehow, some way were able to make all these different shades of pink pop off on one shoe. Super dope shoe. New Balance is here. I hope they continue to, you know, partner with Joe Freshgoods. I hope they continue to pump out these models that we've seen for years but just never paid attention to because of, you know, the plainness, the boringness, if you will. They did their thing this year, which is why they're on my list, not at one spot but at 2 spots on my top 10 sneaker of the year list. And I know for a fact they're on a lot of other people's top 10 sneaker of the year list. I'll say it, I said it once, I'll say it again, I will purchase my first pair of New Balances in the near future. So now down to the top 3 shoes on my sneaker of the year list for 2022. I don't want to say I had trouble with the top 3. I definitely knew what the top 3 were going to consist of. I just didn't know what order I was going to put them in. But I remember when this shoe, you know, first got a release date. I remember when images of the shoe first came out, I was claiming sneaker of the year possibly right away, and that is the Travis Scott Reverse Mocha 1 Low. The Air Jordan 1 Low definitely grew on me ever since Soulfly released their collab last year, which a lot of people hate. I love that shoe, but I'm definitely a fan of the Air Jordan 1 Low. I had no problem putting the Travis at number 3 on the list. Well deserved. Travis, I think, finds himself on a list every single year. I can't wait to see what he does this year with Jordan Brand. So yeah, Travis Scott Reverse Mocha 1 Low on my top 10 list at number 3. So these next 2, I mean, if you've been watching, if you've been paying any attention, you guys can pretty much guess what's next on my list. And I definitely didn't think I would change this order, but I officially changed the order right before the video. Before I reveal number 2, before I reveal number 1, I just want to say it was super tough. I love both of these shoes. Coming in at number 2 is the Lost and Found Air Jordan 1 Chicago. No big surprise there. I know this shoe is definitely 1, 2, or 3 on everybody's sneaker of the year list. There's just no denying the fact that, you know, a Chicago, whether it's reimagined or not, whether it's cracked leather or not, deserves a spot on a top 10 sneaker of the year list. I mean, there's not much to be said about it. It's, you know, almost a month old now. Super clean shoe, super clean colorway. I mean, the only complaints I feel like anybody can have in regards to the Lost and Found Chicago 1 is the fact that pairs were released with mold. That sucks. Thank God my pair didn't have mold. But yeah, coming in at number 2 for me is the Chicago Air Jordan 1 Lost and Found. So finally, we made it to the number 1 sneaker on my top 10 sneaker of the year list. And yes, you guys guessed it. Yes, you guys know that it's got to be an SB. The Nike SB Dunk Low Orange Lobster. I mean, this is one of those shoes. This is that silhouette that is gonna go down in history. It's already a classic with the red, yellow, and blue pairs, the OGs that paved the way for the purple, green, and now orange pair. It releases on the 20th on sneakers. I know board shops should start posting information next week. Best believe I'm gonna do anything and everything. I'm gonna enter every single raffle within a 50-mile radius. This is definitely something I want. Which is why it's number 1 on my list, and I'm hoping, I'm praying that I hit for a size. And honestly, I'm calling it now, I'm saying it now. One way or another, I'm gonna have a pair to review, I'm gonna have a pair to take pictures of, even if I have to pay resale. As of right now, pairs are sitting for around $700 to $750 in my size. Definitely holding off because I have a real good feeling, like we all do, about hitting for retail. But yeah, I mean, Orange Lobster Nike SB Dunk Low, super clean. I cannot wait for release weekend because, like I said, I'm going after it heavy, I'm going after it hard. And if I gotta pay resale, I'll pay resale. Hopefully I don't have to pay, you know, $700 for it. I'm cool with paying between $4 and $6, but I mean, if I have to pay $7, I'll pay $7. It's gonna hurt, but that's just the shoe I need. It's a shoe that I can't wait to have. But there you have it, guys. That is my top 10 sneaker of the year list for the year 2022. I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I want to thank those who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Make sure you guys follow the Instagram and the YouTube page, as well as the TikTok page at goated_the sneaker pod. Thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.